Hello, everyone. We just have one last session that will be really short and dynamic. I'll invite already the speakers to join me on stage. So if you want to come.
Let's go.
Hi.
Right. So I hope the mic works well. Yeah, so throughout the day, we discussed how to unleash an entire value chain for renewable hydrogen, how to unlock those factories to build electrolyzers, how to launch those projects for producing renewable hydrogen on the ground, how to decarbonize those hard-to-electrify sectors, including the steel ones that we thought were really hard to decarbonize. And now we need to connect all those dots. And that you connect with infrastructure, and hydrogen is really hungry for infrastructure. So it's going to be a lot of work. It's work to deploy the electricity infrastructure, to connect the renewables with the hydrogen infrastructure, to connect the hydrogen with the off-takers, but also all the storage and everything that comes with it so that there's an interplay between the two and there is a flexibility element to add there. I didn't present myself. I'm Arthur. I work at the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition. I'd just like to thank and congratulate my colleagues, François, Louise, and Eleanor, who's done a great job today to prepare all this. So yeah, we'll just get into the debates. I think launching this hydrogen infrastructure raises so many questions. How do you plan for such a new system everywhere in such an early market phase without overbuilding it or underbuilding it? So how do you meet the demand, but also you don't have stranded assets in your ground? How do you finance this new grid? Again, it's a new market. We need new investments to come in place. We also need the investments to not fall on the shoulders of people in their houses that will not see the color of hydrogen, or on the industries that are really having a burden on their competitiveness in decarbonizing. And then finally, how do you integrate the electricity system that we talk often and the hydrogen system? There is, again, an interplay to be played between the two, where hydrogen will help the flexibility of electricity, and you have a big need for electricity system for hydrogen. So how do you integrate the two? So I'm just going to join my speakers now. We have three really interesting speakers that are going to take that mission right on. So we have Joachim Koefoed, your VP and Head of Public Affairs at Copenhagen Infrastructure Partners, CIP. We have Abel Enríquez, who is part of the moderation team at the European Network of Network Operators for Hydrogen, the ENNOH. And we have Zsuzsanna, Szeles, who is responsible for me to learn all these words, because you're policy officer at the European Commission, mostly responsible for this governance framework that is the ENNOH now, as part of the gas package. I'd like to start with you, Zsuzsanna, and give you the floor to just make a brief presentation, because you've built basically a historical governance framework. It's the first time we have a law that says we're going to build up hydrogen infrastructure. Tell us more about that.
Thank you very much, Arthur, for the introduction and for the question, and good afternoon from my side. Let me start there where my president led you up for this day, that we believe that hydrogen will play an important role in decarbonizing certain sectors, the hard-to-abate sectors, alongside with the very important other tools we have for decarbonization: energy efficiency, energy savings, and the electrification with renewables. Now, to enable hydrogen to play such an important role, we put in place the gas package, or how we call it, the hydrogen and gas market decarbonization package, together with the European Parliament and with the Member State last year. And indeed, this is a first time that we have such a regulatory framework at European level, which regulates the future hydrogen markets and infrastructure planning and development and the infrastructure use. One very important element I would like to mention, because I think this is the most important element for our discussion this evening, is that we created with the package independent structures which allow us to cater for the real needs of the hydrogen system of the future, allow us to see where is hydrogen supply, where is hydrogen demand, and how to connect the two with cost-efficient infrastructure, how we put this cost-efficient infrastructure in place and how to finance it. More concretely, at the national level, we created hydrogen network operators, and at the European level, as you said, we set up ENNOH, and it's very interesting to see this unfolding and being implemented in real life. two main tasks for ENNOH will be, on the one side, creating rules to efficiently and safely operate the future market, but what is more important today for us is that it will contribute significantly to the planning and the development of the future hydrogen infrastructure, hydrogen pipelines, in a cost-efficient manner. And what I would like to underline here is that ENNOH, as a new association, will not do that alone. There is a whole governance system and an integrated network planning system we put in place, reinforcing the energy system integration approach. ENNOH will develop the hydrogen 10-year network development plan in the future, closely working together with ENTSO-E and ENTSO-G, so with the gas and the electricity sectors. And the aim would be to have an energy system-wide perspective to find the most cost-efficient infrastructure solutions.
Right, thank you very much. And that would be super important to involve all those parts, and especially the electricity part to also be there. But Abel, you've taken this mission right on, right? You saw the ENNOH arriving, you took it. What is it? What are you doing there?
Yes, so thank you for the invitation. And I can say that since the political agreement on the gas, hydrogen decarbonization package was reached in December last year, since that moment, the future HTNOs, we started to work on the foundation of ENNOH. We had the kickoff meeting in January, and on that day, 37 entities from all Europe, 26 member states, started to work together to agree on what we call the draft statutory documents of the association, of the future ENNOH. After 7-8 months of intense work, on the 30th of August, we submitted to ACER and to the European Commission our proposal of rules of statutes, rules of procedure, and rules of procedure for consulting stakeholders, as well as the list of founding members. Now we are waiting for the opinion of ACER. They will issue at the end of the year their opinion on our statutes. And then after that, we will wait also for the opinion from the European Commission that they have. ACER had 4 months and the Commission has 3 months. And so after the Commission opinion, we will have approximately around another 4 months to set up ENNOH, and then it takes around another 3 months to have the publication in the official journal of Belgium. And it means that by October 2025 is the date when officially ENNOH will start to exist. Before ENNOH starts to exist legally in October 2025, from now until then, we will set up a cooperational structure between the future HTNOs. We will call it pre-ENNOH. And pre-ENNOH will start to preparing the work and preparing the path for the future ENNOH. Why? Because just on the month of the foundation of ENNOH, in October 2025, ENNOH is supposed to approve the first integrated market model together with ENTSO-E and ENTSO-G. 3 months later, in December 2025, ENNOH is supposed to publish the single sector draft methodology. And to prepare these deliverables already in October, a lot of preparatory work has to be conducted before, especially in 2025. So for that, pre-ENNOH will start to work. For the moment, there is nothing there. There is no association, there are no offices, there is no team. But sooner or later, you will start to hear from us. That we will start to build the team, to develop and unfold the association. And we hope to be able to work with all of you. We want to engage with all the stakeholders. We want to be visible, we want to be transparent, and we want to have a state-of-the-art consultation process to ensure that when we develop our work, when we develop our next deliverables, all your views are reflected and properly taken into account. So looking forward to that, and thank you again for the invitation to be here.
Yeah, so we can invite you next year because you will finally exist.
Yeah, exactly. Next year I will be able to tell you more.
Okay, wonderful. Joachim, turning to you, we talked about the governance framework, who will do what, but someone needs to finance and build those grids at some point. Mm-hmm. How do you see this picture now? Is it a good place to invest? Should we do it now? And what can we do to further unlock those private funds to go in there?
Yeah, thank you so much, and we're looking very much forward to working with you guys in ENNOH, because it's super timely that we get this established. I mean, this is a quite difficult panel to be on because we're standing between you guys and the wine out.
Yeah.
So bear with us. We will speed it up and finalize quickly, I'm sure. I mean, for those of you who don't know CRP, we're with this global fund manager that has 31 billion euros asset under management from institutional investors that we basically develop, build, and potentially operate all sorts of renewable energy projects globally, including hydrogen or PTX, all sorts of derivatives. And I think during today, and also if I think everyone in this room knows that for a viable hydrogen project or PTX project to become viable, you basically need some renewable energy. You need some mechanism to address the financing gap. We have discussed that earlier today. That can of course be with the quotas from the mandate. It can also be subsidies, and in the end, hopefully we'll get there. But what we haven't talked about is basically infrastructure. Connecting dots, I think it's a good title for today, because at least as a developer like us, when we are designing a project before we do FID, we have to checkmark all three elements that I just described now. And on many projects, also on our projects, we see the hydrogen transmission as the key issue right now. If you zoom to Europe, and it will be a tremendous effort in investing in all that hydrogen transmission across Europe. Just look to the Draghi report. There are some numbers and some figures and some wording in there. Several analyses out there on how much money we actually have to invest in grids broadly, but in transmission for hydrogen. One number that at least we have developed together with some external consultants is around 50 billion euros towards 2050. That's a big number, but if you compare to so many other things, it's actually not super large. And I think if you just look to our portfolio, and I can see some partners in here as well. And I'm talking back to you, Abel, and our Spanish project, the one that was awarded 250 million euros in the European Hydrogen Bank. I mean, one of the challenges for us to reach the FID sometime next year to actually be able to deliver on the entry into operation deadline, that is the hydrogen pipeline that Enríquez is to build to our project. The same goes for the recent offshore wind tender and integrated energy asset project that we have in the Netherlands with Vattenfall. We need the Delta Rhine corridor to actually make that work. And the same thing, I can't see any Danish colleagues here from the government, and maybe I'm mistaken. But the Danish backbone west, so connecting Denmark to Germany, right now we're also seeing a delay in that due to unforeseen circumstances all of a sudden. So all of these projects that we at least have in our portfolio in Europe, where I think at least from our side we'll reach FID first, is super and heavily dependent on realizing that hydrogen infrastructure. I mean, last night the German government fell apart, and I think all of us in this room having projects around Germany, or at least expecting to supply Germany, are now sort of, I don't want to say disturbed, but at least are putting question mark on what will happen to the German core net, and the model that they have actually showed the way in Germany on how to do this. Will a new incoming government do things differently or think differently about this? And I mean, that will turn everything around again. And then how do we get us to actually help you guys finance this? Can we look at it differently to actually unlock private capital? I think we certainly need to speak together on how we can do this. In CIP, we've actually just opened a new regulated energy grids fund, because there are actually institutional investors out there that are willing to actually invest in these low risk, low return sort of assets, if you will, comparing to other of our assets at least. But I think we need to have a discussion on how we actually work together, how we can move closer to each other in the bus, driving down the highway. And then I think sort of the whole concept of anticipatory investments that was sort of embraced in the EU Grid Action Plan, to me, and in this forum, maybe a bit too focused on power. It's been some months since I did the command find in the EU Grid Action Plan, but I don't recall hydrogen filling too much there. Maybe we should do a EU hydrogen grid action plan to see how we can actually do anticipatory investments there. And then I think it was said earlier, the whole thing about actually awarding or not at least penalizing the early starters on the PTX industry, considering doing phased infrastructure projects, so you actually get some projects going, because I said earlier as well, speed is what we need now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Zsuzsanna, happy to have your thoughts on a hydrogen grid action plan. But really, how do you, it's a key moment now, because we can't get it wrong. There's not that many investment cycles ahead of us to be climate neutral, right? We need a hydrogen infrastructure to be climate neutral. So how do we plan it? How do we size it right now with such an early market development? enough, but also not to the point where we just repurpose all our hydrogen or gas grid into hydrogen and call it hydrogen ready and it's good. How do we go along with that?
Good point. And I will come back at the end to the anticipatory investment in hydrogen. So just to recall that the package puts in place the first time now hydrogen network planning obligations at national level and also at the European level. I already explained that ENNOH will work together with ENTSO-G and ENTSO-E. If you let me go into a little bit more detail, what it means really is that they will work together. Sorry, can one? Okay, I will try again. I hope you hear me. So basically, the point is that the three associations, the three sectors will develop together a single set of joint scenarios for their 10-year network development. This means that the three sectors will share the assessment of future in energy needs, demand, supply, and infrastructure needs. And in this context, it's extremely important what Arthur said, that ENNOH is working together with the electric sector and with the gas sector. Now, you mentioned repurposing, and this is an element which links the gas system and the electricity and the hydrogen system together. I mean, repurposing is when you take a not needed, decommissioned gas infrastructure, refurbish it and use it for the transport of hydrogen. This is obviously a cost-efficient approach compared to building new hydrogen infrastructure, so we look at like that. But of course, we have to avoid that we over-invest into future hydrogen infrastructure, that we repurpose only what is necessary. So here we had an approach to make the network planning fit for purpose by creating very clear roles and a sequence for the planning. So on the one hand, the gas operator, we realize there is lower demand for the capacity due to lower demand for gas, and decides to put a piece of infrastructure or gas asset into a decommissioning plan. On the other side, the hydrogen operator at the national level will identify the need for new hydrogen, dedicated hydrogen infrastructure, and when the two overlap, then we can discuss repurposing with all its technical, economical, administrative challenges. You mentioned anticipatory investments, which is a concept from the electricity sector. What we have in the hydrogen system, what we anchored into the package, two possibilities. You can cross-finance the hydrogen infrastructure from the gas infrastructure as an exemption to the overall rule of the separated regulatory asset base. And also we have the intertemporal cost allocation, which is a very long word, but it means you can disperse. The national regulators and the industry can decide together to disperse the tariffs over time to avoid that the hydrogen network use tariffs are extremely high at the beginning for the first movers, and you really have an allocation in time which lowers the tariff in general. This is a system which Germany as a first member state is trying to implement, so we are looking at it in very excited about it, and our agency for the cooperation of energy regulators, ACER, will also come out with a recommendation next year how to apply such anticipatory investments in the hydrogen sector in the best way.
Thank you very much. I'll give one last word to Abel and one last word to Joachim, just to make sure we're on time, if we're very quick. But yeah, are you going to collaborate with electricity and gas with ENNOH and make sure that the hydrogen grid also serves the flexibility for electricity? The goal here, I guess, is making sure that we make the best use of electricity generated by solar and wind throughout the year for everybody and throughout every sector that previously did not have access to it. How are you going to make sure that happens?
I would say that if there is a slogan which is behind ENNOH, is the energy system integration. And this is a concept which is going to be deeply rooted in ENNOH, and for sure we will have to cooperate with ENTSO, and for sure we will cooperate with ENTSO-E. And the team that will work within ENNOH, they will have to be specialists in both sides, on gas and on electricity. Because we want to bring together the two. We want to be also part of this aggregation, this triangle of these three entities working together, and that's going to be how or where we are going to focus all our efforts. We are deeply convinced that the future energy system is a smart combination of molecules and electrons. Two infrastructures are cheaper than one. We heard this many times around Brussels. And we are here to support also the electricity sector and to ensure that we reach the decarbonization at the lower societal cost. So for sure, that will be from the day one part of our leitmotif to cooperate with ENTSO-E, with ENTSO, but also with the key stakeholders in the respective sectors. Sure.
So that's us.
For instance.
Okay. Joachim, please close it now. Talking about the integration with electricity, is that something you're working on as well?
Yeah, certainly, and I will take you up on that for a coffee to have a chat on how we do this. I think the key thing for us in this room and for us to work close together is the discussion on localization of electrolyzers. Because how can we as a sector basically work together with a sort of win-win situation for all? Because I mean, a case could be that a TSO and a power grid have an excess power that they will need plentiful of grid enforcements, where actually a electrolyzer plant could actually help on the other side of that coin. And I think that's key. That said, I think also working together in the bus, or sitting closer together in the bus, because we cannot just centrally decide where the electrolyzers should be. That's not how the market works. Of course, we know where the power grids are, where the pipeline should be, and of course the market will flow that direction. But we also need to consider where are the CO2 sources, where are the water supplies and all that. So in the end, all of us need to sit in a room, have a lot of coffee, maybe some wine and some good food, and then we'll figure it out, I'm sure.
All right, perfect. You're going to be able to do that in, I think, 5 minutes. Before that, I'm going to call François to come back to the stage and give us the closing words. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be a bit of a bridge between all of you guys. I hope this can happen more in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
François.
Well, actually, I don't want to keep you much longer from the wine and coffee and all the drinks outside, but a lot of food for thought shared today for what should be in this clean industrial deal. What is clear is that we need tangible results because we need something that doesn't replicate what has been done over the past mandates. And one thing that was mentioned earlier is that change comes with first movers. And in this coalition, this is exactly what we've been trying to do. And we've already come a long way, that's very true. What we think now is stay the course and let's scale. We here with that coalition, with the market leaders to make sure we do our part to deliver the ambitions. So now, for the round of thank you, I'd like to invite the team on stage as well. So Eleanor, Louise, and Arthur. What I would like to say, thank you to the supporters themselves. This summit is their work. I'd like to thank as well the founding partners, Wind Europe, Solar Power Europe, and Breakthrough Energy. Don't be shy, Louise and Eleanor, come to the stage, please. And Arthur as well. And finally, I'd like a round of applause to them, especially because this is also their summit. Please, a round of applause for Eleanor, Louise, and Arthur. Now, you all must be thirsty. Let's have a drink and exchange. Thank you. Thank you very much.